Breaking Through Strength Plateaus, video number 2. I'm Dr. Mike Israetel for Renaissance Periodization. Here we go. This video is focused on fixing plateaus in your ability to get stronger through addressing your nutrition, relaxation, and sleep. So, why are these things important? Here is the training process. Here's how it occurs in roughly 6 steps. First, you stimulate gains, essentially message gains, to potentially start occurring through hard training. Then you allow the muscles and nervous system to enter a state of recovery. You properly supply energy and raw materials for recovery and adaptation in that state. You allow for the passage of time to actually realize that recovery and adaptation and make those gains. You reach a new level of ability, and then you repeat the process by going again and again and again through that same thing. Stimulus, recovery, adaptation. It's a training principle, SRA, covered in our book, Scientific Principles of Strength Training with myself, Dr. James Hoffman, and Chad Wesley-Smith, if you want to buy that book. It has words and letters in it. All right, so that's the training process. What is the role of nutrition? Well, the recovery adaptive process, which actually makes you better, is powered by nutrition. If you don't get enough calories, the actual stimulative yield, what you get out of the training, shrinks a lot, possibly completely. If you're eating very, very little, your body, on its role of sort of priority list of things to do, keeping your brain and heart alive are like really fucking number 1, keeping your blood clean and all that shit is like number 2, and then getting stronger is like number 18,000 or something on that list. So if you're not eating enough calories, your body prioritizes almost everything else before strength. So if you're under eating and your nutrition supply is not adequate, you're probably not going to be getting nearly as strong as you could, or not stronger at all, potentially being at a plateau. If you eat enough calories, but you don't get enough protein, which is the raw building block and recovery block for muscle tissue, you might not grow much or any new muscle. You might actually lose muscle, and then you will have really wildly shrinking gains or no gains at all, thus causing a plateau. If you don't get enough carbohydrate, you might be okay, but you might also not have as much energy for the next time you come in, and that energy may be so low that you can't even present a robust stimulus. You may not be able to hit PRs, and thus you don't get stronger over time. And maybe you can make some gains, but they're not the best gains, or in the worst case, you can actually plateau because you're so starved of carbohydrates. They're the best source of fuel for repeated high-intensity training. You don't have enough, and you're just not doing super well for yourself. Very few people say, man, I switched to that low-carb diet, my strength is skyrocketing. You almost never hear shit like that for a reason. What about relaxation? Well, fight or flight, and the fight or flight mode that your body has, the sympathetic nervous system activation, is a great mode for stimulating gains. Like if you're not amped up in the gym, you're probably not making a whole lot of gains because you're not training that hard. However, once you're in the gym and you're out, recovery and adaptation are supposed to happen because you want to adapt, but the fight or flight mode is antithetical to recovery and adaptation. It's actually the opposite mode. Your body has like kind of 2 modes in the nervous system and hormonal environment. It's like fuck shit up, attack, kill, train, and then relax, rebuild, recover. And there's not a whole lot of middle ground between those, and the further on the extremes you can be, the better. That means when you're in training, fucking crush it. When you're in recovery and adaptive mode, you got to be chill, 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 because that maximizes how much you actually gain strength-wise, muscle-wise, everything. So parasympathetic dominance is kind of what that's called. That is the state of recovery adaptation. Sympathetic dominance is the state of fight or flight. They're, again, bipolar thing, very opposite extremes. When you're in training, you should be fucking hardcore and fight or flight. When you're not in training, that is the other 22 hours of the day or whatever, you should be as chill as possible. If you're chronically in an unrelaxed state, your adaptive magnitude, how many gains you're making, how much gains, I don't know how to say that, will shrink significantly, possibly if you're stressed out enough, to 0, and then you're at a plateau. The more relaxed you are, the better your nutrition and training work together in order to actually produce the greatest adaptations between training sessions, keeping you from hitting Plateausville, which is a terrible place to be. Lastly, is the role of sleep. Direct studies on sleep quantity and sleep quality, or sleep duration is the quantity part, reveal that sleep is a huge muscle builder and fat burner. Man, sleep is like the ultimate drug. And I know people say that and they're bullshitting you, but there's legit no amount of trend you can take that replaces a certain insufficient amount of sleep. And I've seen guys try it doesn't fucking work. You just fall apart, mostly mentally and then physically. So sleep recharges training energy, among others. So it builds muscle and it cuts fat, which is fucking awesome. It recharges training energy like nothing else in this world. A good night of sleep will make you fucking Superman. A bad night of sleep will make you not Superman. I didn't have anything clever to say. What's that motherfucker that hangs out with Superman all the time in the tower? Jimmy? Scott the video guy, what's his name? Jimmy, the redheaded kid?
I've never watched a comic book thing in my life.
You got to be careful saying that on our YouTube. Scott the video guy hates comic books, and he calls Superman a comic book thing. So please feel free to hate him in the comments. Jimmy Olsen. Thank you. All right. Yeah, he's a cunt. You don't want to be like him. So low sleep amount or low sleep quality can prevent overloading sessions from even occurring, because here's the thing. If you bench 315 for 5 and you come in next week or a couple sessions later and you want to bench 315 for sets of 6 or 325 for sets of 5, if you had shitty night's sleep, you might hit 315 for a set of 322, and then relative to last week, you're not even presenting a huge overload, and thus your body's like, I don't know, this is kind of a repeat / easier. I'm not going to get any stronger because this is not really a challenge. To be able to progressively challenge yourself, you have to be pretty fucking well rested, if you're well rested at all. So that's something to think. Proper sleep also, to the point of muscle building, keeps anabolic processes humming along and the catabolic ones at bay. On the other hand, if you miss a lot of sleep, your body is legit, and this is kind of terrible, if you miss a lot of sleep, your body is in like muscle burning mode, which is awful, right? And interestingly, a lot of strength adaptations, specifically the neurological ones, seem to occur preferentially during sleep. Your sleep is kind of cool. It's when your brain does some other weird shit, clears some metabolites and stuff, and it really does some rewiring. It does a lot of learning. You sort of learn more deeply things you've experienced that day. Encoding occurs, but also that seems to happen with strength. So you actually get stronger in your sleep, which is kind of cool. You know, instead of saying goodnight to your significant other, you'd be like, best gains to you, honey. And you lie down and you realize you're speaking to a laptop with a porn star on it. Because let's be honest, you don't have a girlfriend. There's nobody on the other side of that bed. It's a cold other side of that bed in YouTube land. So all these things come together to facilitate hard training. Nutrition, relaxation, and sleep are massive and allow you to actually train to become your strongest possible. Because you do not get stronger during training. You simply express your strength. You get stronger between sessions. And if you don't get proper nutrition, relaxation, and sleep, you're cutting down on how much you gain, a ton, potentially to the point where you're plateaued and dick happens. And yes, training stimulates strength to occur, but nutrition, relaxation, and sleep actually make the strength enhancement occur. Okay? So training stimulates strength gains. Nutrition, sleep, and relaxation realize them. That's a big deal. Such a big deal that I even wrote, first not offhand analogy in a while, I even wrote a really stupid analogy I thought I'd share with you guys. So the logical primacy here is the super, super importance of nutrition, relaxation, and sleep. You can think of training as, so here's the deal. We have a crew of cleaners and you have a house. Gaining strength is your house getting cleaned. The crew of cleaners is 3 people, nutrition, sleep, and relaxation. Each one's a person. Training, when you stimulate training in the gym, is like money that you pay them, okay? An improvement of strength is your house actually getting cleaner. We got 3 cleaners, nutrition, relaxation, and sleep. And you're paying them money, and the money paying is the stimulus. It's the training you do in the gym. If you don't pay the crew, your house isn't getting fucking cleaned. Which is why if you don't train with fucking weights, it doesn't matter how much nutrition, sleep, relaxation you're getting, there's no strength increase, no house getting clean. Now, if you pay a shitload of money to the crew, but you prevent them from accessing your house, you're still not getting any cleaner. So if you say, oh my God, I had a great training session, here's $900, fellas, clean the fuck out of this house, and then you don't get proper or any nutrition, relaxation, and sleep, that's like paying the guys $900 to be like, clean this house. And they're like, you're off on a work trip or something. And they're like, the door is locked. And they call you on your phone like, hey, your door's locked. And also the back door. And you don't pick up. And they're like, okay, so I guess we'll have to return the money at some point, but we can't clean your house because we're not fucking breaking into your house and getting shot by the police or some shit like that. So if you stimulate a bunch of gains by training hard, and then you go and you have wild clubbing nights or whatever. That's super fun. But if you don't let nutrition, relaxation, and sleep go into your house to clean it, so to speak, go into your body and make it better, then you're just getting dick out of it. So not only do we have to have plenty of money to pay the cleaners, hard training, but we also have to let the cleaners in the fucking house move the fuck out of their way and let them do their shit, which means getting good nutrition, good relaxation, and good sleep. It's pretty much that simple. That analogy is dumb as fuck in my opinion, but maybe you guys will get a kick out of it. Right? So why is this so primary, right? Why is it so important for us to state this as nutrition, relaxation, and sleep being so fucking important? Well, here's the deal. When people ask me generally for help with a strength plateau, the first thing I do is I ask them whether or not they're really plateaued, and a variety of clever questions from the last video we did. But when I remember, I will ask them, how is your nutrition, how is your sleep, and how is your relaxation, right? The question is first, after any plateau is detected for real, that's the first question, because if they don't have their nutrition or relaxation and or sleep sorted, it doesn't really fucking matter what they do in training, right? You can train hard, easy, add load, add reps, undulate, linear, blah, 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 bands and chains, and it doesn't matter if you don't get proper nutrition, relaxation, and sleep. It just doesn't fucking matter if you're underslept, underfed, or overstressed. I don't care what program you're doing, because it's kind of similar. And another analogy is like you have this awesome race car, but you haven't put any fucking gas into it. I don't give a shit how slow you think it is, even if it's not moving. Like every race car is plateaued, but you don't fucking put gas into the shit or change the oil or actually move the steering wheel around. So that's why these things come before any discussions, and in this video series come before any discussions of actually getting into the training program. I promise we'll do that in later videos. That's all we do in later videos. It's the last you'll hear about nutrition, relaxation, and sleep is this video. But you gotta get them right, because any advice is just fucking garbage. Let me make another shitty analogy for you. It's kind of like asking for in-person dating advice, like how to relate to the same or opposite sex, when like you have the worst breath of all time and everyone knows, but no one tells you. You're like, okay, so like, what do I say to girls? Hello? Or, oh, no, it's too much. Hi. Or, my name's Mike. If you're doing that, they're like, fuck, are you going to die? And they don't tell you shit. And it seems like nothing works. That's the same thing with nutrition, relaxation, and sleep. In training is you could be the most advanced program of all time, but if you don't get them shits, you don't get anything, right? So brush your fucking teeth and make sure to get nutrition, relaxation, and sleep at the same time, right? So our first recourse in actually working on a confirmed plateau is to get your recovery sorted first. And then you'll often start making great gains and you're like, fuck, I'm glad I didn't change my program. That really wasn't the problem. What you don't want to do is never address these things, change your program all the time, be like, I can't believe it. Like I'm just a hard gainer or something like that. And a lot of times, this isn't always true, but a lot of times people who say they're hard gainers, you look at their lifestyle and their nutrition often is really shitty, but even their relaxation and sleep can suck. And like, dude, you're not a hard gainer. You just like are living in a life where you probably can't make gains unless you had elite tier genetics, right? Then if you fix the problem, you're good, you're fixed, you're making gains. However, if you get your nutrition, relaxation, and sleep sorted and you still are plateaued, then you know it's not those things and you can attack your training pretty confidently knowing that it's either your training or you've hit your genetic ceiling. At least we're down to 2 and not down to a whole bunch more, right? Now, we're not just going to say they're important. We'll leave you some really good recommendations, although on the Renaissance Periodization YouTube channel, we have tons and tons of more in-depth videos about how to do this properly. At the very least, for strength gains, 3 things. First is eat to at least maintain your weight. Probably means you should have at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight per day or something like that. And that should probably mean like 4 or more, at least 4 well-balanced healthy meals. If you're not doing that at the business, it's not fucking that hard to do. If you're not doing that shit, I don't know, maybe it's nutrition that's the problem and not your program. Number 2, try to have a low to moderate daily stress level. I didn't say low because we live in the fucking real world, right? So you don't want to be in a situation where like stress feels like it's climbing for days on end. Because if it is, again, we go back to video number 1 of like, you're not probably at a plateau. You're just probably stressed out like crazy. Like you have like 10 different deadlines and 3 weeks of hell work at your job. And you're like, fuck, man, I'm plateaued. Like, I know, it's probably your job. It's probably nothing else. So make sure you get that sorted first. And in most cases, have at least an hour to relax at the end of each day, time to yourself. Dr. James Hoffman, RP, always says that. I think it's a really great point. At the end of the day, I will say something that I think is potentially valuable to some of you. We all have this tendency, like, especially when we're seeing some success in what we're doing, success at work, success in dating, success in video games. I don't know what else other people do. I just work. I don't do any of that other shit. We tend to think, oh, fuck, this is awesome. I'm just going to do more of this. Or we're the kind of people that want to have 3 different hobbies, 8 different involvements, read 6 different books. And what you end up doing is like, yeah, on paper, you look like fucking Superman or Superwoman. And people are like, oh my God, how do you know all this stuff? How do you get all this stuff done? And in reality, you're a high stress motherfucker who never even has time to themselves. And you check mark the fucking shit out of your life. And then you die. You fucking never had any fun. And also your training sucks, which is really bad because you've sort of chosen to put yourself in a super high stress scenario. So maybe if you really care about your strength training, try to put yourself in a scenario where, like, yes, I'm an online coach. I could take 30 clients this month, but I'm only going to take 20 because I have really important meet coming up and I want to stay moderately stressed at most. That's a choice you can make. Like, your girlfriend's like, hey, should we buy a cat? Maybe not. Maybe you're already full of all the shit you want to stress about and you don't get any bonus points. There's no one like on high grading you. Well, like maybe if you believe that shit, but like, they're like, oh yeah, like you fucking got a cat and you could still take care of it and your life didn't fall apart. A+. That's not how it works. So make sure stress a lot of times is not a choice. It's totally out of your hands for sure. And if you're in that situation, then maybe strength training is not number 1 priority anyway. But if you really, really, really give a shit about getting strong, try to like make sure the rest of your life isn't so like kind of schizophrenic in the way that you're reaching for 50 different things and being good at everything. And then that may be a solution to a lot of your stress problems. Lastly, get enough sleep to not feel sleepy through the day. That's a huge metric. I fucking put my full Dr. Mike seal of approval. I should make those. Like a little fucking, you buy a stamp and it says, Dr. Mike said, you're cool. If you feel sleepy through the day, in other words, if you're chronically felt underslept, you probably are. On average, the recommendation is 8 hours of sleep a night. Can you supplement it with naps? Maybe. Sometimes that works. Sometimes it throws off your sleep schedule. Don't do it if it does. But I will say this is almost foolproof. I've had a ton of people at seminars all around the world, you always like that non-humble brag, ask me and ask Dr. James Hoffman, who's our sleep and recovery expert at Renaissance Periodization. You guys see him every 2 weeks on the bi-weekly webinar or whatever we have. Like, how do I know if I sleep XYZ? Am I getting enough sleep? How do I know if I'm getting enough sleep? There's a really easy answer to that. Do you have to have caffeine in order to stay awake through the day? They're like, yes, you're not getting enough sleep. Okay, unless you're some kind of weird person or you do a profoundly boring job that you fucking hate, you shouldn't just be falling asleep randomly through the day or getting unreal crazy drowsy. That shouldn't be happening. Yeah, caffeine helps to make you super, but if it just brings you to normal, you're not getting enough sleep. If you're always red-eyed and you feel like your eyes are itchy and stuff, you're probably undersleeping. So if you think you're undersleeping, you probably are. If you're like, no, I don't really get tired through the day. I fall asleep fine at night. I sleep 8 or 9 hours. I'm totally good. Any more than that's probably a bad idea. But you kind of know when you're undersleeping, so don't bullshit yourself. Once you've sorted all this stuff, you're doing the basics consistently of nutrition, relaxation, and sleep, then you can try to focus on to your training content and seeing if that is the thing that needs to fix the plateau. So you've either fixed the plateau with it, or you fixed all the stuff, and for a mesocycle, you're doing all the good stuff, training, nutrition, nutrition, relaxation, and sleep. And all of a sudden you're like, man, I'm still not any better. I still haven't hit any PRs. Then you can attend to the training and fix that to make sure you hit PRs again. But in many cases, the fix of nutrition, relaxation, and sleep, even making them marginally better, will sort you out completely. You hit PRs and all is well. Folks, see you next week for the next video in this series.